This is Joe Malone. It is the Bulls Chat podcast, and with us, the head coach, the general manager of the North Iowa Bulls, Todd Sanden. Coach, thank you for making time for this opportunity.
Thanks for the opportunity to do this, Joe. Appreciate it.
Want to kind of do a little bit of a season wrap here on what happened with the Bulls this season, and kind of shine our headlights forward towards the 23-24 season. Now, this year's season didn't end the way anybody had hoped. I don't know the exact date that it was, but it was February, March-ish. I feel like the Bulls were in second place, and the division being what it is, it was just a battle all year long between everybody. Nothing was decided until the final game of the season, but 6 straight losses against Bismarck is what ended up dooming the Bulls in the end. I mean, your thoughts on the way things went these last month, 3-4 weekends of the season?
Well, I would tell you flat out, if you asked me going into those 6 games to end the season, would we lose 6 in a row? I could not imagine losing 6 in a row. But when you look at the desperation in this division, and I think we played with it for a lot of the season. I mean, we had a great start, then we had a little dip. Got into the bottom spot for a while, and then clawed our way all the way back up to second, and knowing full well, like, these teams beat each other on a regular basis. I don't think it matters. The standings only matter on the last day of the season, apparently, in this division, because it can flip in a weekend. But looking at going 0-6 in your last 6 games, it is super frustrating for coaches, frustrating for players, because our game was pretty good. The games were all close. And I mean, we pretty much were in all 6 of those games. But when you look at probably the biggest thing that we struggled to do consistently this year was score in any kind of bunches or numbers. It just was hard for our young team to manufacture goals.
Now, what was it like coming back from Bismarck? Because that's a haul to begin with. And then, the fact that for this group, this is your final bus ride together. This is it.
It's disappointing. I mean, these are highly motivated athletes, and as coaches, from my history here, we're a historic playoff team. So not getting there 2 years in a row for me certainly is something that I'm never happy about, and something that we feel like we need to change quickly. But our guys were probably down for a little bit, but they had a great season. We had a great locker room. Our guys got along and bonded so well, and we're so tight that halfway through the trip, guys start to relax a little bit and just reminisce over the season.
Now, do you go back and do hindsight is 2020 with games throughout the season? Because with it being as close as it was, that close to a playoff spot or even home ice advantage in the playoffs, do you go, man, if we had just gotten this power play goal or we had stopped this shot in overtime, man, we'd be where we want to be?
I did on the Sunday after we got back from Bismarck. The first thing I did is you just kind of go and you crunch some stats. And when you look at our goals for and our goals against over 60 games, it's a half a goal a game. If we score a half a goal a game more over the course of the season, we're well into the playoffs. So, I mean, when you look at it, and really all of our other stats were improved over last year. And again, the standard is making playoffs and making a run for the Robertson Cup. But when you look at it, it was a successful season, and you had more wins. Our power play percentage was much higher. Our kill percentage was higher. So, I mean, your special teams was better than last year. And that's what we're looking to kind of bank on moving into next year. We have the opportunity to get a fair amount of guys back and guys who played pretty big roles. So you're hoping that they have a great summer and train hard and come back ready to add that half a goal a game to get more wins.
Now, speaking of players coming back, also players aging out, O2s are, this was their final season of junior hockey, and listen to this list. Max Scott, Logan Dombrowski, Jackson Bassan, Hunter Balger, Byron Hartley, Tristan Kimmin, Jack Messick, Mitch Day. I mean, there's there's a great team right there that's not coming back. What do you think about when the prospect of those players moving on in their hockey career to either college or whatever is next for them, and then replacing those roles on the Bulls?
Yeah, I think you always have a little bit of concern when you're losing players of that stature and that nature and their production. But I mean, it's something that you deal with every year, and it's like if you're going to be competitive, you have to figure out where to get those next guys from, and certainly that's what you spend a lot of the season on, recruiting and scouting during the season, and this off season with camps and the draft and that. That's the way you try to build another competitive team for next year.
Now, when it comes to players that are coming back, how many of them are like concrete, 100% going to be a Bull next year, or is there a chance that things change because they may talk to a college scout that's like, I think you're ready to come play for us this fall. We want you here sooner rather than later. Is there a lot of that goes on in the off season?
I think that certainly that's always in play, and when you look at say like the USHL league above us, I mean we're probably going to have some guys that are going to get decent opportunities to play in the USHL next year. So like it's all about development and advancement in our program. So if guys are if they get a college that pops on them on a D1 level and wants to bring them in, we're certainly going to support that. And if guys have the ability to move up to the USHL and play a lot and be productive, I think that's something that we also obviously support.
Now, are you more happy for the player for getting an opportunity like that, or more bummed out that you're not going to have that player?
No, I'm always happy for the player, and I've never been there's coaches out there that will try to sandbag the opportunity, and I've never done that. We've always openly promoted our guys when those opportunities came about. So I think the more you do that, and the more player trust you build on that side of it with advancements, it just makes sense. You should do it every time.
So what's next this off season? Is it drafts? I know as we're recording this now, the NA3HL has got their draft going on. Is it drafts? Is it camps? Is it workouts? What's going on with the Bulls for the off season?
So we have our pre-draft camps coming up in May and early June, and then obviously the NA drafts in a little bit later in June, and then after that, after you've accumulated a fair amount of prospects through tenders, draft, and camps, you have your main camp. Ours is in mid-July up in Andover, Minnesota. So that's where you bring all those prospects together and your veteran guys and hammer it out for a few days to try to put your training camp roster together.
So is there a focus you have for putting together the 23-24 edition of the North Iowa Bulls? Like, okay, I got to make sure I get a bunch of big, tall, strong forwards. I want, two-way defensemen. We got to bolster the goalies. Like, what sort of focus do you have, what you're looking for?
I think when you look at it, knowing that Mitch Day is not going to be around, and he carried a bulk of the playing load for us in that. I mean, a goaltender or two are certainly high priorities for our team. And, I mean, you can't outscore bad goaltending. So, I mean, it's something where you have to find a guy that's accomplished, probably junior, tested and proven and experienced, like Mitch was coming in. I think you got to start in net, and then I think with the amount of D we have coming back and kind of some prospects we have in line, I think we'll be okay there. Obviously, we need to find some forwards that can score. I mean, that's something that we're losing a lot of production in our age-out guys and guys going to school.
One last question: do you know when the schedule comes out?
I do not.
I'm just chomping at the bit. Like, all right, when's home opener? When's the season start? Let's get the next one going.
I can tell you one thing. I'm not going to play the same team 6 times in a row to end the season. That will not happen again.
There we go. Well, Coach, I appreciate the opportunity, and I'll probably send you a text or give you a call as the off-season rolls along, if that's okay.
Sounds good, Joe. We appreciate the opportunity anytime.
All right, that's the head coach, general manager of the North Iowa Bulls, Todd Sanden here.